What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So with early signing day basically over with now, I'm ready to do my rankings of how well each and every Power 5 team has done in recruiting up to this point for their respective conferences. With this video being focused on the ACC, I have a Big Ten video up already. I also have an SEC video up. Like I said, I'm going to do this for every Power 5 conference. But before we get into these rankings, let me just go ahead and explain real quick how I am ranking these teams. This is not just a list of who finished with the highest rated class in the composite rankings or the recruiting rankings or anything like that. You can just Google that. That would make this video completely pointless. Instead, I'm going to be accounting for the different situations and circumstances that each program has found themselves in. Do they have coaching turnover? How well do they traditionally recruit? How well have they been playing on the field? Things like that. And that'll give a more accurate rating and ranking, in my opinion, of how well these programs are really doing in recruiting respective to who they are and what their expectations should be. Also, I will be including the transfer portal in these rankings, so keep that in mind as well. But with all that being said, let's just go ahead and jump into the video and get to number 14. So at number 14, I have Virginia. They're the number 14 ranked class in the conference, number 80 nationally. And look, I understand the issues with you have a brand new head coach in Tony Elliott. He hasn't had time to put a class together at all. But 80th in the country is noticeably lower than everywhere else in the conference. Last in the conference is just uninspiring. It's not good enough so far. I know Virginia doesn't normally recruit at a very high level. You couple that with a brand new head coach situation, and it's hard to expect much more of them. I'm not trying to down on them too hard here, but really just you need to see better. It's really difficult to rank them above the other teams in the conference, considering they're a whole 15 to 20 spots lower than the other lowest teams in the conference as far as recruiting goes. So that's why I've got Virginia at number 14 and last in the conference. Just not enough for their class to really be propped up, even though they have a brand new head coach. At number 13, I have the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. They are number 12 in the conference. They are number 66 in the nation. And for all the on-field success that they've had, I would like to see much better recruiting from Wake Forest than this. I mean, with Sam Hartman going on the run he went on this year, they were briefly a top 10 team at this point. They've made a very hard run at the ACC championship. I mean, they had a really good on-the-field season, and it's not the first one they've had. They've had a couple pretty good on-the-field seasons, and yet here they are, 66 in the nation in recruiting, towards the bottom of the conference. It's really just not good enough if they want to remain a winner long-term. I know the ACC is really down right now, but some programs are starting to get their act together, and if Wake Forest doesn't start recruiting at a higher level, they're going to go back down as a program to where they were in most of their program history, which is sort of a bottom feeder program in the ACC. And I don't want to see that for them, but if they keep recruiting at this level, that's kind of looking like where it's going to be for them. So just a disappointing class, in my opinion, has them all the way down at number 13. At number 12, I have Syracuse, and, they're the number 13 team in the conference, the number 67 team in the nation. Considering how bad this program has been in recent years, this class is honestly just to be expected. It isn't all that bad overall. It's just not very good either. It's pretty uninspired. It sort of fits the whole Syracuse program. They kind of get forgotten about, to be honest. They kind of get forgotten about in the ACC. They're just not a very good recruiting team. Not very good on the field product. Struggling. Nothing here in this class really shows me that any of that's going to change. Kind of just disappointing if you're looking for a change in Syracuse, but honestly, if you're surprised by this, I don't know what to tell you. You should have seen this coming. Syracuse is not a very good football program at this point. At number 11, I have the Pittsburgh Panthers. So they are number 12 in conference, number 64 in the nation. It's a very average class for Pitt. I mean, it's basically what they always do, and to me, that just shows that they're failing to capitalize off of the on-field success that they've had. I mean, you have a Heisman finalist on your team. You win the ACC. You're going to a New Year's Six Bowl, and the best you can do is 12th in the ACC. I mean, come on, 64th in the nation is not good enough. It's really disappointing. I thought they had a real chance to gather some momentum and change their program trajectory a little bit going forward. And they just haven't. If you look at my Big Ten video I did, I specifically talked about Michigan and Michigan State. Both are teams that have really struck while the iron is hot and they've elevated their program because of it. Pitt has not done that. They've got the on-field success, but they don't have anything to show for it in recruiting, and it's just kind of disappointing for me. That's why I have them down at 11. At number 10, I have Louisville. They're the number 9 class in the conference, number 60 class nationally. I'd just like to see them do a little bit better. They have a pretty tenured head coach at this point, where a lot of other coaches across the nation right now are changing locations, and there's a lot of overhaul there. When you have a tenured head coach in a situation like that, I would like to see them make a little bit of a push, because a lot of these, just a lot of continuity helps for a lot of these recruits. Hasn't really done it for them at Louisville. They've kind of been disappointing with that. Overall, though, it's not a bad class for them. It's just an average Louisville class. It's kind of exactly what you expect to see from them. It's just not going to help them build up the program even more in the future. I've got them at number 10. Just basically Louisville's doing Louisville-type things at this point. At number 9, I have Duke. They're the number 8 class in the conference, the number 52 class in the nation. And honestly, for Duke, this is a fairly good class. I mean, still, it's not anything too impressive, and it's not going to shift the It's not going to shift the balance of power in the conference at all, if I could speak. But it's a solid class for Duke. It's not a bad class by any means. It's pretty good as far as they go. 8th in the conference is a little bit above where they normally sit. 52nd nationally is pretty average for them, though. Just overall, decent class for Duke. Got them at number 9. I mean, it's Duke. You don't expect anything different at this point. And so that's them there at number 9. Again, nothing crazy. Just a solid recruiting class for them overall. At number 8, I have NC State. They have the number 7 class in the ACC, the number 51 class in the nation. It's a decent class for NC State. I would like to see some improvement due to the coaching consistency they have, similar to other programs I've already mentioned. But it's overall just a solid class for who NC State is. I mean, if they want to elevate their program, this isn't good enough to really do that. But this is it's going to keep them about where they are. They're a middle-of-the-pack ACC team. Every now and then they'll put together a good year, and this is about how they recruit, and it's pretty on par for them. Honestly, nothing crazy here. Just kind of typical NC State class, and to me that has them at number 8 in the ACC. So at number 7, I have Georgia Tech, and they're the number 6 class in the conference, number 41 class in the nation. And just considering how bad they've been on the field, and the fact that Jeff Collins has to do a complete restructure of the program away from the triple option into the spread offense, honestly, this is pretty impressive for them. I mean, 6th in the ACC is pretty good for them. 41st nationally is okay. It's not great. It's just pretty decent. Nothing crazy. Solid overall class, though, and nothing to really hate on here from Georgia Tech. They're doing pretty well considering who they are as a program. And so, yeah, to me, that has them at number 7. Just, like I said, pretty solid class, middle-of-the-road ACC team, middle-of-the-road ACC recruiting class. At number 6, I have Miami, and I know they have the number 10 class in the conference, number 62 class in the nation, lower than the other teams that I just mentioned that are ranked below them on here. The reason the overall class is weak, though, is just because of how small it is. They have a brand new head coach, Mario Cristobal, which already gives them some leeway because you have a brand new head coach. He hasn't had time to recruit yet. But he's already starting to show some dividends on the recruiting trail, already starting to turn things around there. They've got 7 4-stars, which is more than most of people in the conference until you get to the very top levels. And to me, that just kind of shows a sign of things to come. It shows that the program's on a good trajectory, has good momentum going forward under Cristobal. And I think that's more impressive than anything that the teams below them have done. And so that's why I have Miami at number 6. At number 5, this one may be controversial, I have Clemson. They have the number 3 class in the ACC, the number 17 class in the nation, and this class isn't that bad compared to the rest of the ACC especially, but when you consider that they have been national champions twice recently, and they have been dominating the ACC, they are the program in the ACC, and here they are, 3rd in the conference, 17th in the nation. It's not very good for them. They've had extreme coordinator turnover. They refuse to touch the portal. They've suffered some decommitments. At that point, this class is just okay. It's not anything great. It's not bad. I have them up at number 5. It's just, for Clemson standards, this is not a very good class. Hasn't been a very good season. And, if they don't start to get that turned around, they could be in some long-term trouble, even within their own conference. At number 4, I have Boston College. They're the number 5 ranked class in the conference, number 34 ranked class nationally. It's a pretty good class for Boston College, especially relative to the rest of their conference. Nothing super impressive, just a solid class overall. Keeps them competitive where they are at the mid to lower level in the conference. Maybe pushes them into the higher level. I mean, it is the 5th best class there as far as the ACC is concerned, but that's about where Boston College hovers. Solid class for them. Just overall, pretty good class for them. I feel like the ACC this year as a whole, everybody's just kind of performing as expected with the exception of Clemson. And it makes these videos a little bit more dry, but I mean, it is what it is. This is what you expect from Boston College. There you go. They have them at number 4. Number 3, I have Virginia Tech. Number 4 class in the conference, number 30 class nationally. Now, this is honestly really impressive for them because of the head coaching and the coordinator turnover that they just had. They have a brand new coaching staff that's honestly very impressive to get them up to the 4th best class in the conference, 30th nationally. Very good class for them. I mean, the ACC is down in recruiting as a whole right now. They're doing pretty good. They're kind of getting on a higher level, and with the momentum that the new coaching staff is bringing in, I think that's a great sign of things to come for them. I'm pretty impressed with the class. It's nothing crazy by any means, It's nothing anything that's going to just completely shift the balance of power in the conference overnight or anything like that. But it's just a good class for Virginia Tech. It's a good sign of things to come, and I think they're headed in the right direction, and that's why I have them up at number 3. And now at number 2, I have Florida State. They have the number 2 ranked class in the ACC and the number 13 ranked class nationally. Now, look, losing Travis Hunter obviously hurts a lot. Florida State fans already know this. I don't need to tell anybody this. I'm sure they're sick of hearing about it at this point. But coaching consistency helped them out a lot this year. They helped to build some momentum. They had a really weird up and down year on the field, but it's helped turn into a pretty top-level class for them. I mean, 13th nationally is a very good class for Florida State. It's something they really haven't been able to do since Jimbo Fisher left for Texas A&M. This is a good class for them, even without Travis Hunter. 2nd in the ACC. You're out recruiting Clemson at this point. I think that's really about as good as you could have hoped for, accepting the Travis Hunter departure. Really good class for Florida State, though. Overall, good job from them, from their whole staff. Just solid job from Florida State. Good job. If they would have kept Travis Hunter, they would have definitely been their number 1 class in the conference for me. Losing him really does put a damper on what was a really good class as a whole, though. And, I hope that doesn't ruin recruiting and signing day for too many Florida State fans out there, because this really is a pretty good class, all things considered, in the ACC. And then at number 1, that leaves North Carolina. Inevitably, they're the number 1 class in the conference, the number 8 class in the nation. They have the best class in the ACC, which is impressive considering they went 6-6 this year, and Mac Brown is 70 years old, which makes recruiting a lot harder for a multitude of reasons. It's a lot harder because it's hard for him to relate to the players, first off, but also because there's always that cloud of uncertainty of, is he going to retire? I mean, he's 70. The dude is very old at this point. They just had a bad year on the field after they had really high expectations, and yet they didn't let that affect them in recruiting. They put together a class with multiple 5-stars, at least one 5-star. I may be wrong. They may not have multiple. Regardless, it's a very high-level class for them. Number 1 in the ACC, top 10 in the country. Really good class, and this is not the first time they've done this with Mac Brown. They're starting to stack classes on top of each other and really close the gap with Clemson and the rest of the ACC in the talent gap. They're starting to separate from the mid-tier that they've been in before Mac Brown got there. I feel like they've pretty firmly established themselves, talent-wise at least, in the top levels of the ACC. Really good class overall. I think if you could have coupled it with more on-field success, it would get a little bit more hype than it has been getting. I think a lot of people have just forgotten about North Carolina after what they did this year. But as far as recruiting is concerned, they have not stepped off or dropped off at all. They continue to recruit at an elite level, especially for the ACC. Really good job for that whole staff. Really good job for Mac Brown. And to me, that's why North Carolina is pretty easily the number 1 class in the ACC this year. Anyway, that'll wrap up the list for the ACC. Be sure to let me know down below in the comment section where you agree with the list, where you disagree with the list. Let me know what classes and players you're most excited to see in college football next year and in the years to come. And if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead, leave a like. I mean, you made it this far, you might as well. Subscribe to the channel for more college football content like this in the future. I'll be doing a video on every early signing day for every Power 5 conference. I'll have a lot of playoff content out there, A lot more college football content to come after that. Also, it just really helps the channel out a lot. It really helps me out a lot. Really appreciate it. But with all of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.